Hi, and welcome to this Friday's episode of The Lounge. How are you guys all doing? Did I just hurt your eardrums? Good to see everybody out there. This is an interesting energy, isn't it? We have like 7 planets. I'm pretty sure from what I've heard from all my astrologer friends and colleagues, 7 planets in retrograde. It's enough to have Mercury in retrograde. Why do we need 7 planets in retrograde? The great thing is, let's just talk about this real quick. If you're feeling a lot of things just moving around, the plans are changing, things aren't working out, things are getting a little frustrating with everything moving ahead, but yet the energy feels like it's so intense and you have to keep up with it, which usually I don't see so much in a Mercury retrograde. Like you actually feel the slowdown, but like for some reason, the energies that are kind of going on right now, you're actually like feeling the intensity of having to keep up with the fast pace of everything that's going on, but yet everything's kind of all over the place. So it's like you have 2 different energies going on at once, and it's hard to keep up, yet it's hard to stay focused and for everything to be working out as planned, right? So it's almost like you have to flow with the intensity. And for me, I like to take it a little slow, take a step back, and there's like really no room for that because remember I told you in the last month's energy forecast that September is the month where it's almost like not all this exciting stuff going on, but it's almost like pedal to the metal, getting stuff done, moving stuff forward. And there's a lot of intense moving forward energy, and that you kind of have to keep up with it. But then we have all these planets in retrograde, which is making your emotional life in kind of an upheaval. Like you're having all these realizations, but yet everything is kind of like coming to a head, and it's just everything's coming up. It's like a very intense time. So if you guys are feeling that, know that we're here on the lounge tonight to get everything sorted for you, to have everything make sense. And I can't wait to bring on my guest for tonight because just like last week, we were able to help you guys calculate your own aspect that once our guest actually goes into these types and aspects, you're able to see how these things actually apply to you personally. So it's not vague. There's so much I have to talk about. I'm just so excited to get into all this. I just want to say hello to you guys and say hi on this lovely Friday night. So, Lori, how are you? Eileen, good to see you. Sandy, all of my lovely regulars. I'm so glad to see you guys here, keeping it real, holding down the lounge on a Friday night. So nice. If you're here and you're not in the chat, I'd like to like move some energy in the chat just so I know who's here because the energy is like you want to kind of stay back. You don't want to kind of like get in there, but I kind of want you to get in there. Be like, hey, what's going on? Put yourself out there so I know you're here. So I know your energy's here. I just want to get I want to get some energy for myself so I can get through the show too, because this energy's crazy out there right now, isn't it? Courtney, good to see you here. Yes, you definitely feel like you're riding a wave, holding on tight, but you're not sure where it's headed. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We can't predict that right now because so many people right now are in transition and transformation. And it's kind of like there's 2 roads ahead of you, 2 forks in the road. And it's kind of like you have to make a decision on those roads, but it's not yet time to make a decision. It kind of all depends on what you do in the next couple weeks. So Courtney, great to put that out there. Very, very happy that you put that out there. Angela, hello. Good to see you. Christine, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Ani M, good to see you. Tara, yes, feeling everything you've spoken of. All right. So here's the deal. If you're new to the lounge, welcome. I'm intuitive medium Marisa Liza Pell, and every week, every Friday, we have our weekly energy forecast during the week. I have my monthly energy forecast once a month where I go over the energies for every day of the month to make all your key decisions at the right time. And if you're not on my email list to get that, you need to be. So make sure that you're going to the link in the bio or the link in the description if you're on YouTube. Make sure you're first subscribed to YouTube so you know when we're live so you can jump on and interact with me. And make sure that you get on my email list so you are getting those on the 15th of every month. There's a lot of information in those. I actually pre-record them and handwrite them all out for you guys. So make sure you get on that. Secondly, the way to start moving through this, and we're going to talk about the different pathways when I bring on my guest for tonight, but it's not really, a lot of people think, yeah, you need to tune in more to your intuition, but why? Right? It's not just to people are like, oh, well, I want to have better intuitive gifts. Well, you're already intuitive. If you're watching this show, you already have great intuition, but maybe you haven't been able to make those life decisions that you've wanted to make or be sure or confident about those decisions. That's where we're kind of going with this energy. It's like we're looking at modalities to help you kind of look at the road ahead and to be able to channel that wisdom and be in tune with that wisdom so that you can make those decisions for yourself. Now, I have this quiz. If you haven't taken my quiz yet, it will tell you what type of intuitive you are. And for anyone who's watching the lounge tonight or anybody who actually watches the show, I offer an awesome promo after the quiz, which no one else gets. So if you take the quiz, figure out what type of intuitive you are. That's the first step with going down a certain path to building that skill with your specific type. Okay. Because you got to know what kind of type you are and what your dominant skill is to be able to kind of navigate those waters and tune in to what your intuition is actually telling you to make those decisions. So I'm going to put my quiz up. It's free, it's fun, and it takes just a little bit of time. And if by the end of the show, you want to let me know what you got, I'd love to say hello to you and tell you a little bit more about your specific ability. So I know Angela has taken it. She's actually joined one of our courses. Angela, she's clairvoyant, but I bet you there's some other gifts also connected to you, Angela, because just like we're going to talk about tonight with our guest, there's many different types and many different things we got to put together to kind of put your whole puzzle piece together, your whole picture. Carrie is claircognizant. I know Carrie. I know we've talked about this. She's actually in one of my higher level intuitive development courses. She's taken my manifesting course. She's like one of our star students, Carrie, and she was actually shocked by being claircognizant. And we talked about it. And she's like, "Oh my God, had no idea, but I've been having those experiences my whole life." Sometimes when you get your dominant skill, you don't even realize that like you've been having these experiences and you thought it was something else. So just like astrology, what we're going to talk about tonight, okay, it's not just like your sun sign defines you. It's not like your dominant strength defines you. There are many subsets of your intuitive abilities. But first, we got to find out what the dominant one is. And when we're talking about astrology, we're going to find out what your dominant sign is. But we're going to go into the nitty gritty. We're going to go into more of the subsets, the specifics of your specific zodiac sign. Very excited about that. Krista, claircognizant. All right, we got a lot of claircognizance out there today. What's the base of claircognizance? It's basically the phrase is, "I just know." Okay, so you don't have those visions or senses or feelings, or it's just sometimes you're doing something and you're like, "I don't know how I just know that information. I just know." So claircognizant people could be a little scary because they could just be going do all over the place. Then all of a sudden they have this like psychic insight come in. So it's pretty cool when it happens. They just like, "Where did I get that from?" Kind of interesting. So tonight, all right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do tonight. It's going to be really, really, really cool. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest, and then I'm going to talk to you about tonight is going to be about your dream goals, your careers, and where you're actually headed in terms of making that decision about what you really want to do. What's your soul purpose? What do you really want to be? What do you really want to do? And so we all have these guides. Okay. So I'm one of those guides. I help you read those road maps. I read your energy lines, right? So I kind of tell you, okay, this is what this road looks like. This is what that road looks like. And kind of like trying to guide you on like one of those roads. But then we have astrology. We have numerology. We have human design, which we're going to talk about tonight and what your type is in human design. And all of these avenues are ways in which we can get that deeper insight, which we could get that guidance, and we could then tap into our inner wisdom to kind of use it as like extra information to make a informed decision about where you want to head with your life. A lot of people think if they call a psychic or medium or an intuitive that it's like, "Oh, I'm going to go to them for them to tell me what to do." And that's a big misconception. Because really what we're doing, and all of us that do all this type of work, it's really to give you that extra insight, that extra information. So you'd be like, "Okay, cool. I have a little bit more in my library here to decide what my path is." But first you kind of have to go within and see what your intuition is telling you. So a lot of people use, intuitive, a medium, a astrologer as kind of a method of relief of being like, they're telling you what to do so that you don't have to figure it out. But if it doesn't connect with your intuition, which is so important that you develop, then, how are you going to know if that's the right path, right? So just something to think about. Just something to think about. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Kathy. Yes, Carrie sees here's she sees every Carrie's got a whole plethora of stuff. So I'm interested to see what Carrie's human design type is tonight. I'm interested to see what the other aspects that we're going to go over. I'm interested to see what's going on with you, Carrie. Krista, you're an empath. Also, a lot of intuitive empaths we have at the lounge. Awesome. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. All right. So, our lovely guest for the night, let's give a warm welcome to Magdalena. She's a transformational coach, an astrologer. She does human design. She's an entrepreneur, ICF certified coach, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, and emotional intelligence analyst with over 10 years of business and leadership experience in the technology space, who now uses spiritual science, astrology, and human design to help women become more fulfilled in work and in life. So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at your chart in a little bit more detail. And we're also going to look at your human design type and a certain aspect of your chart, which actually I didn't know much about until I talked to Magdalena and we talked about it. Then I looked it up and it was like so on target with what I do for a job. Okay. So I have to bring Magdalena on. Let's give a warm welcome to Magdalena. How are you, Magdalena?
Hey, thank you very much for the invite, Marisa. I'm very good. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, let me just turn this music down so we're not distracted here. So, you are in Spain, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually 3 a.m. in Spain. Yeah, I'm based in Barcelona.
Awesome. So, Las Ramblas, right? Are you near?
Well,
You,
I'm not that far. Yeah, I'm very close
yeah.
to the center. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. They have really, really great food there. I went there for about a month once and it was a lot of great food and excitement on that trip.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that
Yeah.
warm anymore, but I mean, still, we cannot complain. It's like 22 degrees, and yeah, I mean, Spain is really cool. So if you haven't been, this is the call to go.
This is so where should our if our audience is like, wow, want to go visit Spain, uh where should they go in Spain? What would be your
There,
like
there's so many amazing places. So like surely Barcelona. I mean, Madrid, it's a capital, so of course, like
yeah,
you get different vibe because it's not very much like it's a huge city. Madrid is like a capital. You don't really have this like a seaside and this kind of light vibes like in Barcelona. But it's also amazing south. So Andalusia, all of this part is also like, it Spain overall is very like rich in culture. Like you have amazing food, you have like seaside, and it's always warm. Like even the winter, it's amazing. I mean, in December you can have 20 degrees and sun, and you can really like sunbath, literally just having your lunch outside.
wow.
So yeah, I really love actually living in Spain. I moved like 7 years ago. I was living in Ireland, so and then I moved to Spain. Yeah.
Well, thanks for staying up with us on the lounge and coming on live. I know we were like thinking about maybe due to your time zone difference, we would pre-record. I'm like, no, no. I'm like, you have to be on with our live audience, and they're going to be so interested in everything you have to share tonight. So we are going to calculate a lot of different aspects for our guests tonight. But before we kind of get into that, to talk about your dream career, like what you could kind of look at in astrology to like really look at a certain aspect of your chart and let me tell you, this isn't about your sun sign. I talked to Magdalena a few days ago and she said, I want to look at your chart to see what the MC is. I said, well, I'm not sure what that is. Like, let me kind of send you my chart. And then I kind of like took a step ahead and I'm like, I have to like look this up to see what it means in terms of career. And it was like spot on. So we're going to look at that in terms of your dream career, take a look at your chart, have you calculate that. Magdalena is going to get into what these mean. And also human design is another aspect that's so integral in looking into your career and your goals. So we're going to look at those separate types. But before we get into that, Magdalena, what would you like to tell our audience about like you and how these two aspects? I know there's people that do astrology and there's people that do human design. You've combined them, and why did you combine them, and what do you do with that combination that makes it better than just looking at each one of them like individually?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's true that there is many people who only do one thing. So they are only in astrology or they are only in human design. I actually combine many things. And I think that this is honestly just a start for me. So it's not only astrology, it's only human design. I also use emotional intelligence in my coaching, like in other corporate tools, because this is actually my background. So I started my career in marketing, then I moved to account management and people management. Then I became coach, and pretty much I kind of discovered that mind, it's not everything, you know. So like how we should be taking decisions, it's really not only like rational and like always being, you know, like in the Excel sheets and like looking at all of those models. I just sense like for already probably 10 years that there is different ways to actually look at things and function in life and like perceive ourselves and etc. So this really made me dive into astrology a little bit deeper, because I've been always talking about the full moon, new moon, intuition, my dreams. I've been also like having so many dreams, and how like so often I have those situations that, for example, I see someone in my dream and then I literally get the text message the day after. So I decided to dive into astrology because I just felt that there is this wisdom that I want to use and actually help my clients to, first of all, gain more confidence, to really embrace their strengths. And then since I started like going even deeper into this career topic, and this is actually my core program right now, I discovered that there's so much I can help people through astrology. So this is more or less like the what, you know, so we can understand what kind of energy do we have available for us. That, I mean, this awareness is just helping us to function a little bit better, and this is like this kind of self-confidence boost. So for me, like, I didn't have to do any really exercises. I just had to really understand myself a little bit better through spirituality. And human design is pretty much the system, so the how, you know, so like how we can function in the society. And this is not only career related, in a way that we are not really hitting this wall, we are not frustrated, we are not like bitter, we just kind of are a little bit more in tune with our natural system. So I just, you know, like it was super mind blowing for me. And what I use in my practice right now, it's something that I wish like someone maybe 7 or 10 years ago presented to me. So this is pretty
Yeah.
much, I'm kind of giving this what I wish I received, like this kind of package, this kind of combination of tools that are so powerful in the end. So probably we could talk like 5 hours about it. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's really interesting because I've had my human design chart, like type done, calculated. I've obviously had many different charts, but I didn't ever talk to anybody about the MC specifically in the chart, plus adding that combination to human design and applying it to my career, because my career I've always been an entrepreneur. I just have always been doing that. Which apparently with my MC, it's, you know, I looked it up and I was like, wow, it's like right on target. Um, but right now, for so many people, especially with the pandemic and people like really tuning in and going inside and doing a lot of transformational work, a lot of people are realizing that who they thought they were or who they thought they should be, what they thought they should do over the last 3 years with the energy, people have been like waking up being like, I don't want to do this anymore, and like I want to get into my transition into a dream job or a dream career or something completely different. So what you have, I think, is so amazing because yeah, I could do an intuitive session and give them an idea, but it would be so great to have these other practical aspects calculated, to have a roadmap there of all three of these things to kind of take a look at and kind of build, you know, build the puzzle piece from there and have the whole picture kind of in front of you. So I think that this is really interesting. And I know that we're going to calculate some things for our audience so then we could start talking about that. But is there anything you want to kind of bring to light once we do calculate these things, what people can really expect from looking at them both and what they're looking to really learn from taking a look at this combination?
mm-hmm. So there is like loads of aspects. What is there? There are certain aspects that probably are like core. They are like the kind of the spine of everything, like the structure. So definitely, like, when we talk about sun, and this is of course a mistake to call someone, let's say, Aries, while someone just has like a only sun in Aries. This is like a big kind of part of the whole picture, but
Right.
those are more things. So definitely sun. Then we have the moon. So this is more or less how we feel. Of course, we have the ascendant, and there is like many different versions of how we should interpret ascendant, because like some people say this is like how people perceive you. Other people say this is like the relationship with yourself. And then of course, because this is calculated based on the hour of birth, it's also like how you start things in your life, how, let's say, you approach new projects, how you approach new relationships. So this is something for everyone really to explore. So this is also something I would like to point out, that we just need to experiment with all of this, because there are various versions. We need to kind of see how does it work for us, like in our own life, in a way. So I would really invite everyone just to experiment. But definitely there are main placements, which is like sun, moon. Then there is ascendant as well, MC, so midheaven, that we actually are about to explore. It's super important for the career, because that's the highest point at the sky, like taking into consideration the moment of our birth. So this is really like how we are in our public sphere, how we are at our best. And this is also something that we should be giving more to people, in order, like, it's not only to be seen, but like really this is something that others will appreciate in us. And this is really much related to the career, like work aspect. And
Yeah.
I think what is also extremely important is the North Node, that I'm not sure if I mentioned that to you, Marisa.
No, no, no.
Then I just realized that North Node, it's something like the destiny. It's like this little, like on the birth chart, it's like, I don't know, it's like a little animal. This is how is it actually seen on the birth chart. So this is the North Node, in a way, like which direction should we go towards in life. And this is something that maybe it's not necessarily extremely like convenient for us right now, but like in a way universe will be helping us to go towards this path. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is more. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of paraphrase for people that don't know much about the moon or the ascendant or the midheaven. When you're looking at your astrological chart, I knew before I actually consulted an astrologer that like there was a lot more to my chart than just my sun sign. But I think a lot of people who don't know much about astrology think that, they go into their Cosmo magazine or their Vanity Fair and they look at you know, their weekly or monthly horoscope for their sign, but they don't really realize that there's other signs that define them. Like you said, like the moon sign, which is kind of like their private thinking or their subconscious. And then if they have their birth time, they're able to look at what's called their ascendant, which is kind of like their public, how they are in public, how people perceive them. And then you were talking about the midheaven, which is something I don't know that much about, but when I did read it, like you said, it really relates to career, which I found it fascinating. And I'm like, I have to start looking into this because this is really great. Not
Mhm.
not real clear on the notes, but if you guys are watching, you're like, what's the moon? What's the sun? What's the moon? You have all this in your chart. And so tonight we're going to look into your aspects of your specific chart. We're going to have a link where you can kind of put in your details and we're going to find out what your midheaven is. And we're going to talk about that aspect of your chart in terms of your career. And then we're going to look into human design. So I don't know if it's up to you, Magdalena, if you want to start talking about like what human design is, or we should maybe go into the astrology first and then the human design, or do you want to kind of
Yeah,
give a
I think
little bit overview?
it would be better maybe to have one by one, because I also know from my personal readings, it's like this is like a lot of information, so it would be
Yeah.
better to like one by one. Mhm.
Okay. So what's the best way to start? Should I have people go to astro.com?
exactly.
Okay.
So they have to know, I mean, an exact date of birth with the hour, minutes, and also place of birth. And also, there's one thing that in case of change of the location, the new location kind of apply more than the previous one from the birth moment.
Okay.
Unless someone is like just moved to the new place and it's been less than, let's say, 2 years, then I would say the old like the old location really applies. Yeah, so it depends like on the private situation. Mhm.
Okay, so when they go to astro.com, and I'm going to put in this website, and this is where you guys are going to go to calculate your chart. So you're going to go to astro.com, it's in the comments. And what you were saying, Magdalena, is when it says birthplace, I always put the town I was born in, but you're saying if you lived somewhere for 7 or more years, you should put that into there to calculate this?
Yes, that would be better.
Okay.
Actually, that would be, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Great. So while people are kind of going to their chart, so once they go and put their information in there, what should we be telling them to put in the chat for us to take a look at?
Maybe about the MC, I would say. If maybe
Okay.
some of they can like give us, okay, what is your MC? And it's hard for me to explain how does this destiny thing looks like, because it's like it's the North Node. And I wonder if like in astro.com there is like anything written, like what's your North Node? Because I only know that it looks like this kind of like little animal that it's very different from all of the other planets. So this is the North Node, but I'm not sure whether like how does astro.com actually show that to us.
Now this is different than the MC that they're looking for?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, different, but like
Okay.
let me check 1 second, even I can check mine.
I think when I went in to do it, it had the midheaven, and then it gave me underneath that, it calculated the north node like right away to show how they were connected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's even written like true nodes
Okay.
underneath, under that chart, like under the circle, you have like the
Right.
table, and it's written actually true node. So this is the North Node. This is the same
Okay.
thing. Mhm.
Okay.
I actually checked yours because you sent me your
Yes.
chart. So I see that
So
your
yeah, let's while people are doing theirs, we could talk
yeah.
about me because I sent you my chart so we could kind of give an example of the north of what we're looking at and how it kind of relates and how crazy freaking accurate it is.
Yeah,
Um
exactly.
so yeah, so I guess when I looked at my chart on Astro, my midheaven, my MC was in Aries, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Okay. And my Mars is in Aries in the first house, I've noticed. So I guess what I've read, I don't know if it kind of relates to what your interpretation of that is. So what would you say about me having my MC in Aries?
Okay, so first of all, MC in Aries, this is like an activator. This is like power. This is like really not asking for the permission. This is a maverick, right? So Aries is actually the first sign of the zodiac. So even thinking about this, we may know, okay, like this person is very much, I'm not saying hot-headed, maybe sometimes can be,
No, I am. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
really wants to like change something and initiate. This is not like the person that is gonna wait for like, permission or like five yeses from five different people. No, it's like I feel like to do it, so I'm doing it, and this is what I think this is right, so I'm taking action. This is pretty much a power, and this is the energy of Aries. So MC, like, this is more like related to work, not necessarily to your home, for example, your private sphere, but this is how,
Right.
according to astrology, you may act as a person having MC in Aries.
So when I read a little bit more about the MC in Aries, it talked about people who have this aspect always wanting to work for themselves and pioneering and entrepreneur, like being entrepreneurs and not like wanting to have the structure of a 9 to 5 job. And that's
Mhm.
totally me. I had one 9 to 5 job like after college. I'm like, I won't ever do this again. So Yeah, so that's interesting. So if I was looking to transition my career and I was looking at the midheaven in your, and talking to you about it, what would you say would be some good um avenues for me? Or is it what I'm doing now is a good avenue, I guess?
I would say, yeah, definitely. So having MC in areas, I would say you can still work for like for the company, for someone, but I can imagine that you really need lots of freedom. So if this is the way that you can have freedom and work for someone, it's still fine. But definitely like Aries energy is not the one that is gonna like take step by step and slowly and ask
Mm.
everyone, is everyone okay with that?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
not the energy of Aries, no.
Okay,
So
that's great.
exactly, I would say being entrepreneur, solopreneur, this is like really a perfect solution for you in terms of career.
Oh,
Hmm.
wonderful. Okay, so I'm having people in the chat calculate their midheaven.
MCs
Um,
Leo, yeah, I see.
yes.
My MC is in Leo, so I can very much
Okay.
relate to that. It's so much about creativity. It's so much about playfulness, and also like strong foundation of values. So, for example, being respected, what else, like loyalty, this is something that we associate actually with Leo, so this is something very important. And I also have my MC Leo, and for the first time I read some information about it. I was thinking like, I'm not sure if I love stage so much. I'm okay, but it's like I don't really enjoy being the stage just for the sake of being the stage, and then get the applause and all of that. But if there's like a reason, yes, that's okay, so this is accurate. But I would say for me, it is very important to have this freedom, and to have this freedom to create, to kind of express myself in a way I want that, and also to have fun. And I think I've been saying this so many times, that just having work without this fun element, to me that would be such a waste of life. So this is how I really live it, yeah, as a MC in Leo.
Awesome. Now, what's interesting is that my ascendant, my rising sign's in Leo.
Mhm.
And what's the difference between an MC Leo and a rising in Leo? Because definitely I love the stage. I have a theater degree. I'm on the stage. I'm doing this. So I feel like my ascendant's really, you know, moving
Yeah,
ahead with Leo. So what's the difference if my ascendant's in Leo, but my MC, like the MC is in Leo and the ascendant's in Leo. So like your rising sign is how you present yourself in public, and your MC is kind of like career. So what's the difference if you have an MC in Leo versus an ascendant Leo?
yeah. So the difference is like, also the ascendant has like multiple ways. I mean, there's multiple ways of looking at it. So ascendant is also like how you initiate things, how this is very much like related also with yourself and your kind of relationship with yourself. So how do you speak to yourself. And the other one, so MC, it's more like this public sphere, so what others see. Because there's many things that I haven't seen myself, that I was like really I don't know, fighting for strong values, having the foundation of values at work. I thought that it was something, I mean, super normal, but then I was seen as a person who is really going this direction. And I didn't know that I'm so much into like, I don't know, having creativity and fun at work. I thought it's like something very basic, but then I also found out from few people that this is actually how they see me. So that was not extremely like regular in a way. So MC, it's more like how others really see you and what you should be giving to the world, to your, let's say, work environment, to your public sphere. And ascendant is a little bit more like the relationship with yourself in a way. Yes, because
Mhm.
this old description of ascendant is more like how others see you. But recently I hear more and more, it's like more like your relationship with yourself and how you initiate things. My ascendant is in Scorpio, and I actually see this very, very, I mean, really strongly actually in myself, the Scorpio attributes. Yeah.
Mhm. It's interesting because your rising is in Scorpio, right?
Hmm.
And I actually like can see that energy like when you came on, like you appear to me as a Scorpio. Like your energy is very like your face, your eyes, your vibe very much. So it's interesting because I
Actually,
see.
the name of my like website is Phoenix Coaching. So Phoenix is actually associated with the transformation. So transformation, Scorpio, planet Pluto. This is all around transformation. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Tara calculated hers. Now, Tara gave me two different things here. So I'm not sure which one is the right one, but it says MC29 SCO23. And then she says Sun, Taurus, Moon, Libra, MC, Scorpio. So I'm not sure what this means. Um, and then she has
MC,
this.
okay, so MC Scorpio. Yeah, MC Scorpio. I mean, Midheaven Scorpio. This is really, I would say, about. It's a strategist. Actually, this is how it's MC in Scorpio is called a strategist. So the person that maybe is not seen everywhere and is maybe not like talking with everyone. Like Scorpio overall is very mysterious and is like pretty selective and is like really like a strategist. So it's not really, let's say, initiating things immediately, but it's like having planned and strategy and then initiating things. So this is more or less how the MC Scorpio is perceived.
Interesting. Okay. And so, with everybody that's on the chat, like if you guys could let me know, does this make sense to you? Does this strike a chord? Do you feel like it's like how you are? Like, let us know.
Yeah.
So Benita is MC 25 Sag, AC is 19 Pisces.
Mm-hmm. So Sag, it's really about freedom. Sagittarius is like this fiery, quick, mutable energy, but it's really about like what are my beliefs. And Sagittarius normally needs freedom. So this is pretty much like those attributes of Sagittarius. Freedom, my beliefs, this is my truth. I'm gonna go after it. So in
So,
short.
yeah. So, what kind of career, like if you were to read Benita's chart, and she was saying like what kind of career would suit her or dream job, would that be like the freedom of expression, like in a writing or media, like what kind of freedom would that really look like?
Having her own business, yes, this is definitely something, because I even knowing some people who have lots of Sagittarius energy, I always see them really needing this freedom. So it
Mhm.
doesn't need to be necessarily art, but I would say the freedom and probably being entrepreneur, solopreneur, that would be the best. Yeah.
Okay, Benita, have you ever wanted to own your own business? I guess that's the question for this. And Tara said she wonders if she read it wrong, doesn't see so much as a strategist. So if that MC is in Scorpio, what kind of careers would kind of go with that? Like a private detective or something? Or like something like forensics? I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. Is this like somebody that like likes to get to the bottom of
Yeah,
things?
yeah, exactly. So it's about depth. That's exactly it. So it could be exactly detective or like anything that really requires digging deeper into things. That the person is not working with superficial things or is just not doing things that have no meaning, have no depth. Because this is something that normally people with Scorpio energy are not very much interested. But it can be also, for example, in the company, like being responsible, and looking after like some kind of big strategies. So something that it's not very much operational, but it's more like level or like few levels up and it's more strategic. So Scorpios, I would say, are really related with things that are deep.
So this could be like maybe a psychotherapist that likes to get to the bottom of somebody's like root stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
something like that, or
Psychology,
just
yeah,
analytical kind of. Yeah.
analytical, yeah, maybe.
No,
Maybe
because
I see it a little bit less. Analytical, I would see it more with Virgo. Yeah, Virgo is like very
ah,
well and practical. Yeah.
I see. Interesting. So Benita says that what her midheaven did sound very accurate. She's a solo entrepreneur at heart. Awesome, Benita. Yay for the solo entrepreneurs. Love you all. launching a podcast in a month. So great. We love you on the lounge. So when you launch your podcast, come on to the lounge. Tell us about it. We love to promote our loyal listener stuff. So very exciting. Very exciting. Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Jeff has a Sun Aries, Moon Pisces, and an MC in Pisces.
Mm-hmm. So MC in Pisces is really like visionary. Pisces are really about the big picture. It's about, let's say, dreaming, but also not only like dreaming and not taking action, but thinking about things that are like kind of, having this meaning. It's also about depth, but it's about like really having those visions and also like thinking, okay, what may happen, let's say within 3 5 years, so then I build my vision, I go towards this goal. So it's also not really that much for the short term, but rather more strategic, at the same time idealistic in a way. So if the person has some passion or like dreams, this is like what people with lots of Pisces energy may strive for. So even if something doesn't seem to be very practical, but this is something that they are super passionate about, there's a big chance they will go after it.
So like maybe like a filmmaker or like a script writer or a storyteller
It's like
or
anything
stuff
creative,
like that.
like creative work. That's definitely Pisces.
Oh,
And
one.
because like
Yeah.
Pisces, it's like it's water energy. So anything that, I don't know, is somehow connected with emotions. It's connected something which is not extremely tangible, and it's like more, yeah, softer in a way.
Like an artist.
Yeah, or it can be like even something spiritual. Yeah, I mean spirituality. This is Pisces. Pisces is,
That's so funny. Yeah, okay, film production, there you go. Maybe that's my psychic my intuition coming out on that. That's great. So, yeah, you're right on target there, Magdalena. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me just see. Tara said now that you Magdalena went deeper into looking at a few other alignments, and kind of explained it a little more in depth, she said it definitely connects with her.
right. And
So,
also to talk about very, very briefly about this North Node. So it's actually written as a true node. This is something that we may not be, as I said before, like extremely comfortable right now, but this is something that universe in a way will be pushing us towards. Of course, we have to make an effort, but in a way, we'll be getting extra support accordingly to astrology. So Marisa, yours is in, do you know what is your North Node? Let me check that, just to.
no.
North, no, you don't.
I don't know.
I will double check that. Okay, so yours is actually in Libra. This is very interesting. So you should be striving for a balance in life, like
Yeah.
in a way to have like things fair and balance, and to have like, maybe a little bit more ease, because
Yes.
what seems to be more comfortable for you is the Aries energy, and this is like the opposite, right? So this is like,
Yeah.
okay, I just feel like to do this, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many things actually on my plate, and this is too much.
Oh
So
my god, yes.
because Aries is so much into action, so this may happen exactly. So you should be kind of be maybe mindful of not like jumping into too many things if you have notice for that.
Oh my god, that's I was actually this is like the phase I'm in my life right now. It's just like I have that drive that's so like push, go, produce, like get all this stuff out there, right? And then I'm like, but I have this like lifestyle that I want of ease and slowness and pace and comfort and balance. And those two energies are always like, how can we coexist with each other? That's so true. That's
Yeah.
so true.
Also,
Yeah.
interesting enough, I have my North Node in area, so like it's absolutely the opposite. So my actually comfort right now is in Libra. However, I really feel it that it's going towards Aries, and like I push myself to be more of a Aries. Okay, I'm not really sure 100% how to, let's say, do this and that, but I really try, and like I push myself. So
Mm.
either way, I'm not waiting until I'm 90% ready. So this is typical for Aries. I'm like 50% ready, but I actually feel I want to do it, and the Aries does it because it's like a maverick. That's the
That's
way for the
crazy.
person. Yeah. This is the energy, and
It's
Libra is the
interesting.
opposite. Yeah, because it's like wants to balance everything out and to have this ease in life.
Yeah, definitely. So I know that like I could push when I need to, but then like I have these periods where I'm like, I just want to go to a spa for like 5 days. Just like relax. But then before I do that, I'll push myself into like some sort of crazy like production of things that I have to get done before I could feel like I deserve the relaxation. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah,
crazy. Okay, we have somebody else's. And then after we do this, we're going to talk a little bit about human design and look at everybody's type that's here for human design. We're going to talk about how they connect.
exactly.
So Kim is Sun in Pisces, Ascendant in Leo. Yeah, another Ascendant in Leo. Me too. Moon in Capricorn. Me too. Mercury in Pisces. Okay, so we don't have your MC though. We need we need we need your MC, Kim. So when you look at the chart, you're looking for a big M and a little C. That's what we're looking for. All right. So why don't we what so I can bet you that a lot of people on here don't know what human design is. Can you give us a little overview on what
Yeah,
that is and what it's used for?
yeah. So this is nothing really scientifically proven. So Robert Krakauer had this vision, had this transmission that was, I think, in late 80s on the Spanish island of Ibiza. And basically it's like a mixture. He got the information the way, so he's like, I mean, he passed away already, but he just like kind of passed this knowledge to others. So it's a mixture of like astrology, genetics, Kabbalah, I Ching, and also other things. So it's pretty much a practice. So as I said, like it's nothing really scientifically proven, but lots of people in the world decided to experiment. And actually, I'm among those people as well. I was really drawn into it, like from the really first moment I heard of human design, and it has those 9 centers. So like in chakra system, there's like 6. In this one, it's like a little bit more developed, and there's
Mhm.
9. And yeah, I really see lots of truth in this since I started practicing and like experimenting, because as I said, it's not really about getting a reading and like after an hour and a half we know everything. It's really about experimenting every day and seeing how those things actually play out in our life. How can we read it? Because I also think that we shouldn't be taking everything as it is. Like those things are written with a very complex language that is a little enigmatic. It's not that clear. So I've been already experimenting, I would say, for like a year, probably. Yeah. Just seeing how does it, how can I benefit from all of this wisdom, actually.
Yeah, so I guess I could put in a link of where people can go and see what their human design is, right? Do we have a link for that? Do you have a link for that? I think you gave sent it to me, right?
Yes, 1 second. It's called My Body Graph. I can send it in a moment.
Okay. And Kim, yes, we went over MC and Aries a little because I'm the same, believe it or not. And we went over MC and Aries a little bit, maybe about 15 minutes ago in the show. So if we don't get back to that right now, you can actually on the replay check that out. We talk a lot about the MC and Aries, which is very interesting.
For some
Um,
reason, not paste it on the public one. I just
right, yeah, you won't be able to. I'm putting it right here. So if you guys want to go and see what your human design type is, um, you could go to mybodygraph.com and see what that is. So when we find out what the human design is, how are we applying it to the MC and the astrology to kind of formulate what the dream career should be? Or
Mm-hmm.
are we combining it?
So Yeah, I would say this is something that we need to like rediscover step by step, really analyzing, because there's 9 centers and we have defined centers and the undefined centers. So defined centers, like we call that, this is like, the power centers. Those are our strengths. The open centers are the centers, I would say we can say that there is like a wisdom in there because we are kind of learning, and those centers are a little bit more to be influenced by the environment, by others. And then we have like the authority. So only one center can be our authority, and mind will never be, as far as I know, authority. Okay. And this is also interesting for people to hear, because sometimes we think that mind is actually here to take decisions, but digging deeper into those things, we understand that it's more like the body, the heart, the gut feeling, intuition. This is more like to take a decision, and the mind, it's more like a body to assist us once we have this feeling, yes, no, as like then we can invite the mind to partner with us, so with this heart and body, and okay, what are we doing with this in a way. So there is 4 types, and for example, generators represent 70% of population, so this is vast majority. Then we have projectors, that's 20%. We have manifestors, that's about like 9%. And we have reflectors, that's only 1%. And personally, I haven't really done reading for reflector yet. This is only 1% of the population. But once we know the type, and there is not only the type, but there's also like another little calculation called profile, we can more or less understand like what is our natural system in life in a way. So for example, generators, I can talk a little bit about generators because this is like 70% of population. I'm a generator, like most of the people I know are actually generators.
Okay.
So for generators, actually, what is very interesting that the aura is really open. We are like those centers of energy. So pretty much we are like inviting people to like come to us to have a chat, because not each type has this kind of open aura. For example, manifestors have like really closed aura. So they are here to manifest, to like inform people, to take decisions, but they are not necessarily perceived as like very welcoming, very warm people. So generators are. And for generators, the center to take really decisions is the sacral. So it's like the body. It's like not really the heart, but it's more like connected with the gut feeling, I would say.
Okay.
And how generators should take a decisions really in the moment. So if they kind of sense it in a moment. So the worst thing for them to do is to go to the Excel sheets or like go to those 10 people and like ask them about their opinion, because more or less generators know things in a moment, and that should actually come from the body, how they actually feel about it, not really thinking and rationalizing. So this is more or less the process for 70% of the population, so generators. And for example, the signature, so we talk about the signature, this is how, so once they live their life accordingly to their system, the signature, so like this positive expression that they will be actually experiencing in their life will be actually satisfaction, and the negative frustration. So once they go against their system, natural system, and they, for example, want to, let's say, initiate things all the time, they will hit the wall in a way, and they will be frustrated. So actually, I'm a good generator, and I can relate to this so much, because like being sad for me, this is something very rare. Like my negative, let's say, state, my negative expression is like when I'm frustrated, I'm like buzzing with this energy and I'm frustrated. But like to be sad, it's extremely rare for me to be sad.
Okay. Well, we have a couple other people before we move into the human design and the different types that got their MC a little bit late. So I'm just going to bring those on real quick. I know we didn't go over a Capricorn in MC. Is it possible for us to just take a look at That one as well?
MC Capricorn, right?
Yes.
So Capricorn, just let me tell you a little bit like about this energy. This is like earthy energy, right? It's actually, this is a cardinal sign. Cardinal meaning that is an initiator. Capricorn is so much about the structure, determination, going after goals. So I don't want to really put anyone here in the box that the person should, for example, but for example, corporate, it's like could be one of those environments that is actually suitable for the person with the MC having in Capricorn, actually, because it's so much about the structure, it's about order, it's about like being determined and like putting effort and really going after the goals. But very like of course like a person with MC in Capricorn can be entrepreneur, yes, of course, but maybe aspects such as creativity or like fun at work could be could be a little bit less important, I would say. Yeah, if I compare it to Leo MC.
It's just funny because I know Carrie and I know her job. And she actually, her job is structure. She's an architect. So it's like her job is actual physical structure. So
Mhm.
that's so interesting because it's that it's like MC and Capricorn is structure, being involved in it, and she actually builds structures or like designs structures,
Mhm.
So isn't that, I think that's so interesting because it's so accurate for her.
Yeah. And even when I met you, we had our first conversation. I haven't really seen the Capricorn Sun in you, but I saw more the Leo and Aries. So it's also very interesting how this is visible. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just crazy, but Carrie's very determined, very much about her goals and, very determined. So I think that's,
That's accurate. Yeah.
and it's funny because she's an Aries.
Yeah.
Her sun sign is an Aries.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's like reversed. It's really interesting. Ashley, this is interesting because I run my own business, but I'm creative also. Awesome. Great. Well, let's hear a little bit more about you, um, Magdalena, just because we didn't really talk about you as much. You can actually follow Magdalena on Instagram, phoenixcoaching.co. So, what is your ideal client, people you love working with, and how do you help people?
Mhm. So currently, 90% of my clients are women. And of course, I can work with men. This is not a problem at all. And I would love to have more clients as men. However, for some reason, probably it's because I'm using spirituality. This is who I'm attracting a little bit more. And focus in terms of, let's say, objectives. Like it's more a career, because this is also something that probably I experience lots of, I would say, I wouldn't say like unfairness, but like I've seen many things at work that I just thought like, maybe those people need some guidance. And this is my actually core and signature program right now. So I'm like helping people on their career journey. So we're always starting with mapping out their talents, their potential, their north node, all of this before actually we jump into the action mode, and we, let's say, talk about the goals, and then we, like create all of this strategy. We will work on the mental blocks, and of course it's important to create a sustainable strategy for the success. So this is pretty much my focus right now. So I help people throughout their career, so it can be either to move like 1 2 levels in their current organization, or maybe transition to a different industry, or maybe to establish or like create their own business. So probably this is my focus right now. And like in my coaching, I use spirituality, but also like emotional intelligence and other corporate tools. So this would be probably my core focus at the moment.
Awesome. Well, you guys can connect with Magdalena on LinkedIn as well as her website, which is phoenixcoaching.co.
Very spoken.
And yeah. And as always, everyone that comes on the show, they give a little promo to our lounge viewers. So you can get 20% off her 3-month career program. And is there like a coupon code or anything that people have to share when they connect with you if they want?
No, like I would say they can just connect with me, and this will be valid for, I would say, like 5 days maximum. So they can
Okay.
like connect with me on Instagram, or directly they can fill out the form on my website or like LinkedIn. Doesn't matter. So just let me know that you watch the show, and yeah, and we will get get hop on the call and have a discussion. I can actually have a discussion with anyone without any charge. So just, of course, like we have to understand what are your goals, expectations before we actually decide on anything.
So there's a discovery call where it
Exactly.
would be, there wouldn't be a charge to speak with Magdalena, like for the first time to decide if it's a good fit to
Yeah.
work together. And if you're having a struggle with figuring out, your career transition, Magdalena's your gal. So awesome. Well, we are coming to the end of the show. And actually, Ashley, we are not talking about sun signs tonight. We're talking about the MC in your chart. So it seems like you just jumped on. So in if you go to astro.com, there's a link in the comments if you guys are just jumping on and you want to look at your chart for the MC. It's like a big M and a little C. And we went over most of the signs tonight and how it relates, what it says about your career. So that's the aspect you want to look for. It's the midheaven, not your sun sign. So that's what we were going over tonight in terms of your job and your career. Great. Well, thanks everybody for coming on the lounge tonight. Thank you, Magdalena, for coming on the lounge tonight. We so enjoyed everything you had to share. And is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we wrap it up?
First of all, thank you very much, Marisa, for the invitation. Yeah, probably the final words will be like, really, guys, tap into your heart and intuition, because the more I discover, like in astrology, human design, it's like really the mind is not the authority to take those decisions for us. It's only like a partner, I would say, in the process. So I'm really like the older am I, and the more like those Mercury and other retrogrades I'm going through, the more I know that really the mind is just to support us, but not necessarily to take decisions. So probably this is my conclusion of the.
Yeah, and I always tell people too, like, I think in the beginning of my career, and I've been doing this a really, really, really long time, like almost 25 years, if you guys could believe it. I thought the answer was in giving the intuitive information that was going to help people to help make their decision. What was happening is that people, they were relying on me to kind of make their decisions for them and not really relying on their own judgment. So whether you get an astrology session, whether you have a human design type calculated, whether you have a mediumship session, whether you have, a healer, you know, reality is that it's providing you more insight that the universe wants you to know to kind of take into consideration before you put all of those things together so that you could then tune into your own wisdom. And that's what's so important is that if you're a highly sensitive spirit, at times you do get disconnected from yourself because you're not grounded in the nervous system, in your core and your center, so that you can kind of seek that own wisdom. And so you shouldn't really be dependent on anybody externally to help make your decisions. This is more for guidance so that you can have the roadmaps. And so these are all like tools that you're getting tonight, all tools so that you can have more information when making your informed decision. And I think they're all excellent tools. And I think they're actually very fascinating. So yes, we put up everything for you, Magdalena. And for me, I will just actually put, hold on one second. If you're new here, or if you just signed on, I have a little quiz, and we took this in the beginning of the show. So if you want to learn what your intuitive superpower is and start to really delve deep into that, or just stick your toe into the kiddie pool and try to see what your intuitive type says about you. Take my quiz, and then there's a couple steps after that. We have a promo for you too if you watch this show. So thank you everyone for having us tonight. Thank you, Magdalena, all the way from Spain. I hope you get some sleep. It's like 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
Sleep until 3:00 and go get some good food tomorrow. Thank you so
exactly.
much for being on here. And thank you everyone on the lounge. We will see you next week for possibly some more live music with some people you haven't seen in a while, and for your weekly energy forecast, which I may do over the weekend. So I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you all for coming. Have a great night.